Hello gamers, this is Sai and welcome back to Which Way Games. It's return of the fastest thing alive, but what badnik will Robotnik use this time to stop Sonic? And with that being said, let's get on with the video. When it comes to gaming icons, you can't get one bigger and better than the blue blur himself, Sonic the Hedgehog. Known within the gaming world as the world's fastest hedgehog, with legacy games that go all the way back to the early 90s, it's easy to see why gamers still class Sonic as one of the best. Being such a huge fan of Sonic, I had the first 4 games, which in my opinion are some of the greatest games ever made. And of course, the 23rd of June was Sonic's birthday, but how old does he turn this year? Also, one YouTuber I know called Mizuki Moon is such a massive fan of Sonic that she has a huge collection of Sonic memorabilia. I'll leave a link to her channel below. Being created by Naoto Oshima and Yuji Naka to replace Alex the Kid as the mascot of Sega, Sonic went on to have great success, starting with his first 2 games for the Sega Mega Drive. Taking inspiration from Mickey Mouse and Phineas the Cat for the overall design, Oshima and Naka weren't quite finished yet. Wanting Sonic to appear cool to gamers, Oshima and Naka decided to have Sonic be blue in keeping with Sega's Cobalt Blue logo. And as for the infamous shoes worn by Sonic, these were inspired by the king of pop himself, Michael Jackson, and coloured red after Santa Claus. Tom Kalinske, who was CEO of Sega of America at the time, came up with a brilliant idea to bundle the first Sonic game with the Mega Drive as a console-only exclusive. This proved to be highly profitable as the Sega Mega Drive went on to sell 15 million units. And when it came to Sonic the Hedgehog 2 being released a year later in time for holiday season, gamers couldn't get enough of the spiky blue saviour of Mobius. With both Sonic games being regarded as part of the success of the Sega Mega Drive, it was obvious that Sonic was capturing the hearts of gamers. Following the success of Sonic the Hedgehog 2, 2 teams of developers were created. One team had American developers working on Sonic Spinball, a spin-off title from the series which was essentially a pinball machine-like game, with Sonic acting as the pinball for most of the levels. And the other team had Japanese developers who started working on Sonic the Hedgehog 3, headed by Yuji Naka and Hirokazu Yasuhara. The original prototype for Sonic 3 was an isometric game, but this concept was quickly abandoned and was eventually used for Sonic 3D Blast. The development team wanted a deeper story to expand the universe of Sonic the Hedgehog, which ultimately led to a much larger project than the 2 previous games. On this team was a young developer known as Takashi Tezuka, who later would go on to become head of Sonic Team. Ideas and concepts that were conceived when Sonic 2 was in development were implemented and reused for Sonic 3. Creating levels that were 3 times larger than those found in Sonic 2, Naka and his team wanted Sonic 3 to be their biggest Sonic game yet. But due to time constraints, this idea was changed slightly, which I'll come back to later. And with the character Sonic being all about speed, it only seemed right to introduce a rival to this. Sonic 3 was the debut of Knuckles the Echidna, who was the opposite of Sonic and was all about power. Going through various designs, Knuckles was originally going to be called Dreads, have a Jamaican accent, and be a lackey of Dr. Robotnik. Character developer Takashi Yuda never intended Knuckles to be more than just a supporting character, but more on that later. As for the music for Sonic 3, many composers worked on creating tracks, but one rumour surrounding Sonic 3 was the involvement of Michael Jackson, who is believed to have contributed to some of the music found within the game. Obviously he was never credited for this, but there are similarities between the music used in Sonic 3 and some of Michael Jackson's own songs. With gamers becoming excited for Sonic's 3rd installment, many magazines such as the beloved Sonic the Comic in the UK even created an issue known as the Sonic Summer Special. This special issue featured other stories within the world of Sonic, but had a complete story featuring Knuckles and his introduction to the evil Dr. Robotnik. With hype now surrounding this upcoming game from Sega, fans were waiting in anticipation, and in February 1994, Sonic the Hedgehog 3 was released. And like always, let's go back to the past to see how Sonic 3 was advertised.
Hey, come on! 君に約束する超音速アクションは止まらない
Non-stop power play. Sonic the Hedgehog 3 from Mega Drive.
The plot of Sonic 3 takes place directly after the events of Sonic 2. With Dr. Robotnik defeated, his space station known as the Death Egg crash lands on the mysterious floating Angel Island. On this island, Robotnik meets Knuckles the Echidna, who is the last member of an ancient civilization, and it also turns out that Knuckles is the guardian of the Master Emerald. Thanks to the power of the Master Emerald, the island can levitate with unlimited power and travel all over Mobius. Seeing the potential of this, Robotnik tricks Knuckles into believing that Sonic and Tails are after the power of the Master Emerald. Shortly after this encounter, Sonic and Tails arrive at the island on the Tornado, and with the Chaos Emeralds in his possession, Sonic transforms into Super Sonic to get to the shoreline faster. But Knuckles ambushes Sonic and steals the Chaos Emeralds. Gameplay for Sonic 3 builds upon the groundwork laid by the original 2, with gamers controlling Sonic, Tails, or both through 6 zones that make up Sonic 3. The emphasis is to get through zones using Sonic's speed and attacks while avoiding death. With zones being divided into 2 acts, gamers will face up against mini-bosses at the end of Act 1 and then go toe-to-toe with Robotnik at the end of Act 2. Special stages have also made a return, but 2 different types were available. The first being entered through the checkpoints found within the zones, and the second type could only be entered if giant floating rings are found within secret passages. This new type of special stage involved running around a 3D map, collecting blue spheres while avoiding the red ones, which does prove to be quite challenging for some. Collecting all the blue spheres would give gamers a Chaos Emerald, however, with each different special stage, the difficulty level increases and so does the speed, with each zone becoming increasingly harder and having various encounters with the Doctor and Knuckles. It wouldn't be until the launch base that the story would continue. Arriving at the launch base where the Death Egg is under repair, Sonic and Tails have a fight with Knuckles. However, once Knuckles is defeated, the Death Egg relaunches, and once again, Sonic manages to stop Robotnik, causing the Death Egg to crash land once again on Angel Island. Now this is where the time constraints I mentioned earlier come into play. With Knuck and his team wanting Sonic 3 to be larger than the 2 previous Sonic games, Sonic 3 was ultimately going to be a very large game with 12 zones to play through instead of 6. Due to time and financial constraints of manufacturing a game cartridge with more memory, Sonic 3 was split into 2 separate games, with a new one being called Sonic & Knuckles. To promote Sonic & Knuckles, Blockbuster Video and MTV both sponsored a competition where gamers could play a pre-release copy of the game and go on to win money as well as the title of the world's most hardcore game of the time. Now Sonic & Knuckles will be a continuation of the story of Sonic 3, and being released just under 8 months later, gamers could finally put a stop to Dr. Robotnik.
Sonic, let's fight. Let me show you my true power.
You're too slow, Knuckles. You didn't see anything. Wait a minute, I've done this bit already. Alright, Sonic & Knuckles. So once again, let's go back to the past for a second time to see how Sonic & Knuckles was advertised.
Of good, one pawn of evil. It's Sonic & Knuckles. Not only is it the greatest Sonic game ever, it also comes with lock-on technology. Plug in Sonic 2 and use Knuckles to play in a whole new way. Plug in Sonic 3 for 34 megs of power, new worlds and surprise endings. Sonic & Knuckles with lock-on technology, only on Sega Genesis. Sonic & Knuckles, other game cartridges, and Sega Genesis each sold separately.
The plot of Sonic & Knuckles follows immediately after the events of Sonic 3. With the Death Egg damaged once again following its crash landing on Angel Island, Sonic and Tails continue to travel through the many zones in their search for the Chaos Emeralds. This would eventually lead to a final encounter with Knuckles, but more on that later. Gamers could now carry on the story, and this time, Knuckles would be a playable character. Being able to play as Knuckles created his own story similar to Sonic's, and travelled through all the zones that Sonic did as well. However, Knuckles faces up against a robot known as Mecha Sonic, not to be confused with Silver Sonic from Sonic 2. But I'll go back to the main story of Sonic & Knuckles later. Something unique with Sonic & Knuckles was the cartridge. The game cartridge had a hatch that if opened allowed for Sonic 3 to be inserted. This feature had several changes to the gameplay of Sonic 3, with slightly altered levels, and it was also the only way for gamers to collect the Super Chaos Emeralds. Going back to the main story, Sonic meets with Knuckles once again in Hidden Palace Zone. He still believes that Sonic is after the Master Emerald, so the two begin to fight, but Knuckles is defeated one final time by Sonic. After the conclusion of this fight, the two hear a disturbance outside the chamber they're in. Witnessing Robotnik stealing the Master Emerald, Knuckles attempts to stop Robotnik but is electrocuted, and while stunned, he realises that Sonic isn't after the Master Emerald at all, and that he was tricked by the evil Doctor. Seemingly trapped within the chamber due to a cave-in, Knuckles leads the way to a portal that will transport them to the Sky Sanctuary. While traversing the many dangerous pitfalls of Sky Sanctuary, Sonic will witness the Death Egg relaunch into orbit, and at the last possible moment, Sonic manages to infiltrate the Death Egg once again, and defeats Robotnik one last time as Super Sonic, but with the new power of the Super Chaos Emeralds, Sonic will transform into Hyper Super Sonic. It reminds me of the Super Saiyan transformations from Dragon Ball Z. Having all the Chaos Emeralds in his possession, Sonic helps return the Master Emerald back to its resting place and restores the power of flight to Angel Island, saving millions of lives in the process. With the lock-on technology I mentioned earlier, gamers could take Sonic the Hedgehog 2 and insert it onto Sonic and Knuckles. Knuckles would become a playable character for Sonic 2, and gamers could take advantage of the many abilities of Knuckles. I wonder, can I play the original Sonic with Sonic and Knuckles? I guess not. Such a shame. When both games were released, they were met with positive reviews, and Sonic 3 was even regarded as the best Sonic game in the series so far. Sonic and Knuckles was praised as being its own standalone game, but with the introduction of the lock-on technology, this revamped their overall experience while playing. With a legacy now spanning 28 years, I'm interested to see where the Sonic series will end up. And with the upcoming Sonic film being delayed thanks to a redesign of Sonic, I do wonder if there might be another Sonic game in the future. As for the original games, I never tire of playing them and always enjoy the experience of the fast gameplay as well as the catchy music. In fact, I'm going to go play them all through again, and maybe I'll share this experience sometime in the future with some Let's Plays. Let me know what you think. Anyway, come back next time where our friendly neighbourhood Spider-Man has to save New York from mysterious fog that's shrouding the city. Thank you so much for watching, and see you next game.
You